Hey guys, well you see the number of this edition of the Animated Girls Profile Confidential, which means we are now one away from the 75th edition. In other words, the next one will be number 75. But who are we talking about here in the 74th edition? Well, the title says it best. We're talking about Whisper the Wolf. So you could consider the 74th edition as a bit of a follow-up to the 73rd one where we talked about Tangle the Lemur. So without further ado, let's discuss who Whisper the Wolf is. Now, for those of you who are wondering who is Whisper, Whisper, like Tangle, made her debut originally in the IDW Sonic comic a few years back. However, her debut came a few issues later. And her main character trait at first is she's very reluctant to trust anybody. She's very reluctant to make friends. She's very reluctant to trust anybody or to accept anybody's help. She's a bit of a loner. But as the comic progresses, from what I understand, she starts to warm up to those that have helped her out. She starts to warm up to Sonic. She starts to warm up to Amy, to Tails, to Cream, to Vanilla, to all of the protagonists in the series, even Knuckles, and even including somewhat of Shadow and Rouge. She starts to warm up to them in a way. But probably most importantly, she starts to warm up a little bit to Tangle. Even though Tangle, as I said in the previous Animated Girl Profile Confidential, is a character that's kind of a burst of energy. You know, she has a good heart, but she's very excitable, and you know, she's willing to help out whenever she can. And this is seen more so in the miniseries that they did, focusing on Tangle and Whisper, which was a spin-off of the main book. Now, I'll be honest, as I said in the last edition, and as I said in a separate video, I have yet to read the book, and I will read the comic. Do not worry about that. That time is coming. But, with that said though, from what I've heard from the likes of Mega Beatman and many others, even in the miniseries, Whisper starts to open up more. She starts to trust Tangle more. She starts to see that Tangle is willing to help her and is willing to even understand, or in fact does understand, where she's coming from when it comes to her wanting to avenge her colleagues that were betrayed along with her by someone they thought they could trust on their team. Now, I don't know if it's in the miniseries or if it's in the main book, but Whisper becomes so close with Tangle that when Tangle gets infected by the Zombot virus, Whisper takes it hard because all of a sudden she thinks she's got this new BFF by her side that she can depend on, hang out with and stuff, and suddenly she's taken away from her. But thankfully for Whisper, Tangle is restored recently in issue 29, I believe. And the moment Tangle is restored, Whisper just pounces on her with a big old hug, as if like she just does not want to let her go. And by doing that, it definitely shows that in the 2 years of this comic, in the 2 years of Whisper's existence, she has definitely, from a character personality standpoint, become more open to, you know, trusting again certain people that she could consider her friends. And you really see that. You see her really become less shy and more vocal at times. You see her, you know, actually remove the mask, like she's removing the veil from her face to, you know, from her to show her own face, or to show the real her. You know, she's starting to do a lot of that. She's starting to, you know, really open up more. And I think if you're reluctant to read the book, like a lot of people have been over the years, including me, when you start seeing a character do this, then that's pretty much a sign that maybe this book is going to be something you might want to get into very soon. Because like I said, you know, as we've gotten into this year, as strange as this year has been, you know, the stories involving Whisper, she's become more open. She's basically, what I'm trying to say, she's gaining more of a personality. It's a little bit here and there, but she's gaining more of a personality. And knowing how comic book writers could write sometimes, whether it's Ian Flynn or Evan Stanley or whoever, sooner or later someone's going to write Whisper to become a lot more enthusiastic, a lot more positive, not be like a Tangle, but be more of a vibrant character that, let's say they want to, from a story perspective, want to put her into a romantic relationship, and probably the closest you could think of could be Tails, or even if they want to go the LGBTQ route and put it with Tangle, you could still utilize her shyness a little bit when it comes to maybe committing to a relationship or wanting to impress somebody. You can still go back to that. But from what I can see and from what I can tell, we are definitely seeing more of her personality come out and be showcased. And I think that's what fans really like about these kind of characters, that when they first start out, the untrusting of people, they reject people's help, they don't want to make friends, but as time goes on and they start to relearn on how to trust and how to make friends or accept new friends and depend on others, as time goes on, that also allows them to open up and become more vibrant, more expressive. And again, we see that with Whisper. Even when she goes up against the Betrayer in the miniseries that they did, you see her becoming more expressive. As a matter of fact, in the miniseries, it's the first time we see her without her mask, without her veil, if you will. You see the full extent of who she is. And that's pretty cool. Overall, I think Whisper, like Tangle, is just going to get better with time. I think the longer the comic keeps going, I think she's going to get better with time. And even if the comic does come to an end, which right now is kind of up in the air, but I don't think it's going to be for a long time, because IDW will probably find a way to properly manage the comic more so than Archie. As much as people may not like me saying that. To me, as long as the comic keeps going, I think, like I said, like with Tangle, I think Whisper's personality is going to just continue to grow and grow and grow. And sooner or later, you're going to get an issue where you suddenly start seeing this side of Whisper that's like, whoa, where did this come from? You're going to start seeing a fun-loving side of her, a side that likes to probably go out and party and stuff. You're going to start seeing that side of her, and maybe you might see it sooner than you think. But I believe as time goes on and the comic continues to, roll along as well at IDW, that she's going to continue to grow as a character. I know some people will say that that's impossible, Sega won't allow it. Well, that might be where you're wrong. That might be where you're wrong. I think Sega is okay with characters, their own characters, being able to, grow, into being something more than what you originally see sometimes. Basically, as long as they still retain a bit of what the original, I should say, personality was. So I don't think Sega would have a problem with her, with Evan Stanley or Ian Flynn or whoever, opening Whisper up more so personality-wise to make a more expressive, excitable, loving, whatever you want, an outgoer kind of person. Basically an outgoer, social, involving kind of person. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're okay with that, as long as she maintains a little bit of that personality she was first introduced with. Overall, though, guys, Whisper is a unique kind of character that, like I said with Tangle, I think over time it's just going to get better as the comic continues. And again, a character like her opening up and becoming more than what she originally was, basically growing that personality, becoming more outgoing and more socially involved and stuff. That's what I was trying to find earlier, but more socially involved and everything. That's what kind of attracts people to a comic like this, especially when you have her finally, remove the veil, remove the mask, if you will, to show her true face, or her whole face. In other words, open herself up to the world once again by doing so. And to me, that in the end makes a great character. When you have a character, like I said, opening themselves up finally by removing that veil and letting the world see them for who they are, or once again, or for the first time. So in the end, guys, Whisper to me is a character that has a lot of potential ahead of her. She has a lot of potential as time goes on, especially with the comics and everything. And if she's included in any future games like Tangle is in the future, whether it's mobile or console wise, I guarantee she's going to be playing major roles in those as well. And don't be surprised that, again, with the comics, that in the games you start seeing more of her personality come out, and she becomes more outgoing in speaking and stuff like that. So that's about it, guys. Sorry if I kind of went off a little bit, talked a little bit as if I was distracted by something else. I do apologize for that. But thank you all for watching, and yes, the next one will be our 75th edition. Who will it be? Well, you're just going to tune in to find out. But thank you all for watching the 74th edition of the Animated Girl Profile Confidential on Whisper. So until next time, guys, take care. God bless. I am out.